Hello, everyone. Today we have salt and pepper. What?
I'm gonna salt and pepper you.
The abuse. Hey, guys.
See? Wait. That's how you know. Call me salt and pepper. I'm salt, you're pepper, obviously. But that means I'm seasoned, baby.
Baby, I don't think I've seen pepper like you. Like ever.
I'm seasoning salt. I'm Lowry's.
No, baby, you are like Opag. You're like pink Himalayan sea salt. Hey guys, what's going on? Flawless Exotic Creations here, Will, Audra, coming to you guys with another video this week. And this week we're gonna elaborate on some of the things that we've mentioned in specific videos based on it, but we didn't kind of dive into the specifics or how we kind of came about the game plan. And we get a lot of comments, because some people like to work individual single genes, and we want to be an advocate of bringing the community together, much so like how we try to do with Flawless Crested Geckos as well, and also paint a picture in the community. As long as you take yourself serious and your project serious, you don't have to do it at a big business level, but you take your project serious, that you could really get into the ball python industry at any level.
Yeah, you really can.
Right. So this video is going to be based all about project planning and your business goals. And you know it, what's that big word? Infrastructure that we keep talking about.
We talk about infrastructure all the time.
Because it's very, very important. And just to give you guys a snapshot, and I have my lovely wife, Audra, here to keep me on track. But infrastructure side of things, when it comes to like our facility, we have a ton of empty tubs right now, and that's by design. Will they be empty for extended periods of time? Yes, for the most part they will be, but it also provides us the ability to be able to not be put into a pinch where we're forced to do certain things when, let's say for instance, we're no longer breeding a certain combo, female, male, or if we want to put something on the shelf for a year or two, we're able to do that. It was very important for us on the hatchling side too, that we were able to have ample enough space to the point now where we have like 2 complete empty hatchling racks as well, that we don't even use.
Being able to have the space available to you, just the physical infrastructure,
right?
Obviously not even talking about the business infrastructure as far as, economics are concerned, but just the physical infrastructure, having the ability to have that space and not be impressed, it creates the ability to slow down in order to speed up your business.
Which can boost your creativity.
Yes, it can.
And as you know, especially working with the snake gods, the odds gods, that you're not always blessed. So sometimes you'll have a bad season. Sometimes those, I won't say the word, but I'll let you guys assume, when an egg doesn't hatch, it does something else, which is not good. So I'm not going to say that because it'll jinx you.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of like saying, actually putting into words that a team that has not been beaten is undefeated.
Yeah. Or like when we were policing, everything is going awesome.
And then somebody
says, "Oh, it's quiet." And the whole night you start running call to call.
Yes.
So we say that because we know a lot of people watch these videos, a lot of people listen to these videos. So we're going to be as brief as possible, but we've also gotten a lot of comments that they want longer videos. We're going to try as hard as we can, but we want to stay on topic. That's a little bit about the infrastructure. We can dig deeper in that in future videos, but Now let's get on the basis of business structuring around your programs, not the finances or any of that, but around your programs. So starting off, I'll tell you, we had an urge to get in a big way into certain programs. The key to that for us, again, disclaimer, like we always try to put it out there. This
Just
is
our
our
opinion,
perspective.
our perspective,
Yep, and we
our
just want to
journey.
put it out there. So maybe if you guys can hear it, maybe you could take bits and pieces and say, okay, I'll use that. Or maybe you don't want to use any of it, but you at least get this perspective and how it's turning
It's
out.
always important to understand that even if you don't agree with somebody, if you 100% don't agree with somebody,
Right.
you can still take little nuggets of wisdom
Absolutely.
from that interaction. You may not take the actual advice, but you can take that interaction as a whole and learn from it and put your own flavor on things and make yourself better.
Absolutely, which is why we, really dig in and watch a little bit of everyone. We try to jump on everyone's lives. We will be forever students of the game and continue to try to learn as much as possible. But I don't think anyone can deny that there are quite a few figureheads in the industry. One of them that we're extremely fond of is Billy from Mutation Creation.
Yes.
We watch his lives every Monday.
I relate to his brain.
Yes, the ADHD brain, the spastic
He
brain.
keeps me
It's
entertained.
awesome. But sometimes Billy isn't, everyone's cup of tea. I'm sure we aren't everyone's cup of tea. I hope we are. So hit that subscribe button. But there's something to be said for someone who has been in the industry for so long. And yes, there's controversy surrounding most people. We get that. The way we like to do business and carry ourselves is we try to take the positive, if we can utilize it, take it on, listen, and anything negative, we kind of steer away from it. We don't want anything to do with negativity. It's just how we live our life. But as far as Billy, he preaches and preaches and he goes on his rants, and I love to listen. We don't always input, but we want to be able to listen to that sounding board. And anytime he mentioned, and you guys may not agree, and it's fine, I'm just trying to get the basis of what I'm going to talk about. He mentioned about being a 10-year 15-year breeder and still having single gene Mojave, and nothing's wrong with any of these genes, but single gene Mojave, single gene pastel, single gene banana. Nothing is wrong with those genes. There's nothing wrong with having, 5%, 3% of your collection having that single gene female or having that single gene male because you're waiting to do something specific with it. But he was preaching about actually working programs, where your goal is to, make a single gene Mojave, or your goal is to make a single gene Orange Dream, any of those very, very simple gene combos. Well, it's not even a combo, it's a single gene animal. He was preaching on that, where if you're a veteran in the industry, which we are not,
Nope.
You want to aim toward at least pushing the industry forward in whatever lane you want to be in. I feel that we believe in that. That's accurate. We do that with, the Crested Geckos as well.
Very much so.
Which sparked the revisiting of the business plan for us. When we got into the game, we literally drew out this nice business plan. We were going deep on our males. We were going still deep on our females, getting very specific combos, younger babies, because they were cheaper, and we can get exactly what we wanted in our combos. Once that was fulfilled, if I could talk, then we ventured off and got more recessive females, ready to breed combos, and things of that sort.
Yeah, because y'all do remember, it was supposed to be 10 snakes.
Right, 10 times.
10 times 10, right?
And then, just...
Times 2.
So... everything has been amazing so far. It's been an amazing learning process and experience. After our first season, 43 clutches.
Unreal, by the way.
Yeah, insane.
Like, we had 50 planned? There was 50 planned.
There was 50 planned.
We ended up with 43. And, I was like, because he was like, they're not all gonna go, nothing,
Right.
you know, this, that, and the third. He's like, we'd be lucky if we get half of that or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, 25 clutches, you know, half
See?
of it.
Well, but you know what? In the odds now, if you think about it, not to cut you off, we're still really slated to do 50 clutches this year. Slated. But honestly, I don't see us having more than 30. I don't. I hope we do, honestly. I really hope we do because of the way sales have been going. And,
We're very thankful and
yes,
blessed. You
we're
guys
very blessed.
really,
So thank you guys. If you
really
guys,
made it possible
you know,
for us.
it's been amazing. And it's been quite the journey. But you're supposed to be keeping me on track, baby.
I'm getting you off. Wait a
So-
minute. I'm the ADHD person over here.
You're supposed to keep me on track. So
But yeah, that being said, like 43 clutches.
43 clutches. So that brings us to year 2 now. And in year 2, we revisited the business plan because the plan was obviously to produce some very serious combo females, whether it be a single gene recessive that's double het, working our triple recessive project with codoms in it, working our quad project, which we know is going to be a long journey, getting those females on the ground. We literally have, I want to say, 6 holdback females with incomplete dominance at play that are in the ultramale hypo G-stripe pod project, which we haven't seen much. So we're trying to go down our own path. Now, being that we've set a standard that we really want a ceiling of 250, you know, breeders, basically, that's males and females, not necessarily breeding every year, but that size. That also means that we have to set certain restrictions on certain projects, because even though 250 is a lot of snakes, once you start working, it would be completely different if all we did was work ultramale pod. If we had 250 snakes and we worked ultramale pod, then there's a lot of space to be had for that program. But we work so many different programs and projects and multiple recessive with codoms that you really have to be mindful of how much space you are keeping, which is that infrastructure point. So once we revisited, we were like, man, there's no reason we needed to have, you know, cinnamon fire bongo. Love the combo, but it's like, it's still, for us in our collection, we tagged it as being too simple of a combo for us. We already had bongo and other combos with recessives working it. We already had the other genes as well, so we had to figure out what game plan we would approach it with.
And again, like he said a million times, it's our infrastructure that cinnamon bongo, whatever this
Right.
was, it cinnamon fire?
Cinnamon fire
Cinnamon
bongo.
fire bongo,
That's just an example.
That was just an example. Like, that's just, it may not be simple for somebody else's program.
Right.
That may be something that you can really utilize. Don't take that
At
as
all.
being like just
So-
as simple. But it was a better choice for us to try to move that out, knowing what we have in other combinations.
Yes. So think of the entire industry. No people specifically, but the entire industry as a pyramid. That pyramid scheme. But at the top is the point, at the bottom is wide with ample opportunity.
Yeah.
So it depends on where you fall on that scale, because everything that you create, you should be shooting for your holdback, regardless of what your breedings are. What's your goal in this breeding? There should never be a breeding done, in our opinion, saying, hey, I'm gonna do this breeding because I need to fill my table for a show. I'm gonna need this breeding just to produce babies. Everything should have a goal
There should
set.
be purpose. It needs to be purposeful.
Because the odds, the percentage of hitting your goal is so low in a lot of situations, that why not shoot for a goal? Because you're already going to have stuff for your table, stuff for your store. And the thing about it, depending on where your programs fall on that pyramid, whatever combo you missed is something else somebody else is shooting for.
Absolutely.
So that's that pyramid. So you have all the, even for example, and again, it's just an example, Pompeii, you know, do we have any Pompeis? No, we don't have any Pompeis, but it's still a $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 snake. And at this point, we'll use Canova. He's producing them. and he already has them in his collection. If he produces ample enough a supply, I'm sure he's putting them up for sale. Now, for a person like us or breeders like us or even above us, they can see that as an opportunity to get that snake to build on for whatever their collection is. Some people see certain combos as unattainable. Completely understand that as well. But again, it's where you fall on that pyramid or on the spectrum. Ouch. So,
That's not nice.
love you, baby. So you need to figure that out.
Well, and two, he uses the term unattainable, and here's the thing, like, this goes back to something I tried to record the other day and it didn't work. But when you think about the word unattainable, like, get that out of your vocabulary, number one. You don't need to think, I can't afford this. I know you didn't just jump like that, you little turd. Don't think I can't afford this or it's unattainable. Just say to yourself, how can I afford it? Would you stop? I'm trying to give nuggets of wisdom to these people, and here you are, like, over here doing the most. A little extra thing. Like, oh my heavens. Listen.
Finish.
Anyway.
We're having a blast today.
It's not how I can't afford that. Don't put that in your vocabulary. You need to understand that no matter what level you are, no matter what your socioeconomic status or your financial business is, you can set up, what we're trying to say is, like, with all these different genetics in the ball python world, you can set yourself up, if you're willing to do it for the long haul, to create whatever you want. You just need to understand, like, when a deal comes along or when something happens and you're able to pick up, like, a really, a pivotal piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Not to be confused with the gene puzzle.
That's right.
But when you can pick up a pivotal piece of your puzzle, like, that's just knowing your infrastructure of how you need to plan out your breedings and how you need to plan out these genes. Don't just write off a gene because, oh, well, it's been known to do this, or I don't want that in my collection. You can literally breed out of it. Like for instance, for us with his pastel hating ways, like, we have our stranger that has our male that has pastel in it.
We have two of them, yeah.
Yeah, we have two of them. So, but that being said, like, that doesn't mean that we have to pair him with other pastels if we don't want to.
Exactly.
So you can, even though, some of these genes aren't necessarily what you would say are really complex, or they're not ideal for whatever it is, don't completely mark them out if you are able to see the actual pivotal genes that you're looking for. Don't be so completely closed-minded to these genes. Like,
right. That's pretty accurate. Exactly. And then you have to have the forethought as far as when you start your planning to see what is everything entailing when it comes to your space constraints, your infrastructure.
To get back to that, like, that's where you kind of have to know what your ability is, your physical housing ability. What is your budget for feeding your animals, taking care of those animals. Like, all of that goes into play with as far as infrastructure and dealing with certain genes and not.
Right. And I'll run you guys another project. For example, let's say you have one rack. And you are blessed enough to attain, we have our Aussie boy. Our Aussie boy is super inchy, orange dream, leopard, hypo, pod, 66% het for ultra male. Now, his females that's lined up for him, let's say he has 2 ultra male pods. Let's say he has 1 pod het ultra male, 1 ultra male het pod, so that's 4. Let's say he has 2 hypopods. Let's say he has a pastel inchy hypopod. And let's say he has a pied double het hypo DG. And let's say, for the sake of the argument, that's 8 females. that male has had an amazing year so far. That's what's going on here. So that's 8 females plus your male just for that project, right? So in a perfect world, I mean, that's 9 slots, 9 tubs. Okay. Let's say 6 out of the 8 females go for you. Mind you, he's had 3 locks. He's eating. He's a champ. He's 1,100, 1,200 grams. He's crushing it. Let's say 6 out of the 8 females go. And let's say all 6, for sake of the argument, have 6 eggs each. That's still 36 babies. 36 now, 50-50 odds. No matter what the combos are, there's going to be some insane combos. But let's say 18 are male and 18 are female. We're probably going to hold back probably at least 9 to 10 females off the rip. We may end up holding back 1 or 2 males, depending if those males are on the market.
Yeah.
Right. So you're looking at 12 holdbacks at least on top of your 9 that you already have. Look how fast that starts to graduate. Yeah. So when you start breeding them in 2 to 3 years, it's just you have to worry about where do you go with these projects. You have potentially 3 recessives, a ton of codoms at play. You don't know what you're going to actually hit with what. So when you start holding back with these triples and actually hitting some triples here and there, it's really going to develop super, super fast, and it's going to multiply fast. And that's off of 1 breeder. So if you have another breeder, we also have an ultra male pod, that's not breeding much this year. He's a backup male, but you can see full circle like how these projects can truly multiply when you're breeding for yourself first and holding things back. That's why we talk about infrastructure so much, because you never want to be sitting in a spot like, oh man, we got to buy a rack like next week because we need space. Mm-hmm. We don't even want to get into that because we're at our ceiling. We don't want to, by choice, go any bigger numbers wise. This is very convenient. We can go down, we could do cleaning for an hour and a half. The kids could wash the tubs. It's easier to do it with this process, which brings us back to why we make a cut list, essentially, is what we're speaking of. Mm-hmm. Where, this year in year 2, we had to go through our racks and say, hey, if a snake, especially on the female side, has less than 4 incomplete dominants, then we decided to move those on, make them available to someone else who's looking for those combos.
Trust me, there was one I didn't want going, and she went.
Yeah. Oh, and that was Act Like Super. So it was a little different in that situation. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the Freeway, the Mardi Gras.
Jules.
But
she's one of 2 snakes that actually have names.
Right. So we have to make those kind of rules and guidelines, or things will grow out of control. And then you'll be stuck against the wall trying to make some serious decisions. Actually, Tim and I, we talk all the time from Morphed Out Reptiles.
All the time.
All the time about these same things. You want to handle this in its infancy stages before it gets too advanced, and then you're really like cutting it back to the root to get to the source of things. But so we set it at 4 incomplete dominant genes and moved on from there. Now, how long will we be set at 4 incomplete dominant genes? Probably a couple of years at least. Now, there are exceptions to the rule. What's the description of what something will be like an exception? You ain't got to say a gene, but what type of things will be exception to the 4 incomplete dominant gene rule?
So, exceptions to the 4 incomplete dominant gene rule is if it is a newer gene, something that hasn't been put out there so much, something that you don't see a lot of breeders working with, that it's fairly new. It's something that has loads of potential to add into a lot of other programs, or to see how it interacts with what we already have established here.
Accurate.
So yeah, that would be the exception to the 4 incomplete dominant gene rule.
Yeah, and hit the nail right on the head. And also not just the new ones, but the newer, something that's not necessarily new, but the market isn't saturated with it as well. Those, especially females, get an exception, and they'll hang around a little longer because we have a little bit more on the timeline to work them, especially into the projects we have. And to give you guys the sneak peek on why females and males obviously are needed for breeding, but your males are very, very important getting started, is because, for example, we have a window female breeder. Now, window, incomplete dominant, it's a newer gene. It's been around for a while, but it's not completely saturated in the market. We actually have quite a bit of window, but she's single gene window female. She's going to be here for quite some time. I mean, years, because there's so many different directions we can go in if she decides to go, you know, in these breeding years for us. We can go DG Pie to her in hopes of hitting a clutch and half of the babies being window double head DG Pie. We can go ultra male Pie with her. Same concept. We can go, you know, the Ozzy boy, the combo we were just talking about, and just wondering, like those type of combos. There's so many angles. We can go stranger, you know, we can go there's so many angles we can go with window that's completely untapped. So females like that, we will hang on to for quite some time. And won't be going anywhere. We also have, and this will be the last part of the video, we have double visuals, which is understood on why we would, you know, hold on to double visual females. But let's say, for instance, ones that's not highly sought after in the market, like G-stripe hypos. I love how G-stripe hypos look. We have several G-stripe hypo females, and I really feel like, depending on where you're going, you can go in so many different directions, but that's an amazing base to be able to start right out the gate with, depending on what gene you want to throw to it. We got one breeding I'm super excited for this year. We have our pastel stranger double het puzzle clown male being bred to a Mojave G-stripe hypo female. I mean, we literally have a chance to hit some stranger quad hets. I mean, that would be freaking awesome. You know, so stuff like that. And then with testing and everything, it really levels the playing field. But we wanted to put this video out to be more concise and specific on why we're preaching or talking about having, you know, not keeping 3 incomplete dominant genes. That's not for everybody. That's just a very breeder specific thing for us, and we're trying to work on our development. We want to constantly improve, constantly get better year after year, and we would love to take leaps and bounds, but sometimes you have to take baby steps.
You're one of those people that, like, when I watch, I want to say, dude, swallow.
Shush. Anyway, we hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Let us know if you like these longer, long form videos. I have to talk a lot because a lot of time I have to tell you like 2 and 3 times what I mean and how to get things done.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yes. See, I just had to repeat myself 3 or 4 times. But anyway, we love you guys.
I was giving you a chance.
I hope to see you, or I hope you get to see me on Thursday. If not, you guys know I was assaulted. But it's Will, Audra, Flawless Exotic Creations.
Assaulted.
Oh, God. We out.
Bye.